Okay, so today we're going to start with a GT reading test. So first of all, Isha, in GT reading, you have to have a score of 7. Otherwise, your whole test is waste. Is a waste. You have wasted your money because you know the condition. No? L R W S. Now in GT reading, you will get 40 questions, and out of those 40 questions, you have to have 34 right for you to be able to get band 7. As in it the the bandwidths of the limits of the scores are too narrow. In order to get to 7, you have to have 34 right. That means you're allowed only 6 mistakes. And the format of the exam is something of this sort. You get 3 sections. Section 1 has 13 questions. Section 2 has 13 questions. And section 3 has 14 questions. Okay, yesterday's class is on YouTube, so you can watch it whenever you want to. Okay.
Yes,
As in, you can get the link through my status, WhatsApp status, or you just subscribe to the channel so that you get all the lectures over.
yes, sir.
So section 1 will have 13 questions, as I said, and it will be subdivided also. That is to say that you will have one small excerpt which will have 6 questions, and the other one will have 7. So is the case with the second one, 6 and 7. And section 3 will have 14 questions, but here you will not have 2 small passages, but one long passage, like the one you have done today. Section 3 has one long passage, and it has 14 questions from that. The nature of the questions is again wide. You can get true, false, not given. You can get yes, no, not given. The difference today, I'm going to explain to you the types of these questions, so you'll get to know them in detail. Yes, no, not given. Then you will have blanks. Then you will have headings. Then you will have maybe sometimes the blanks have options also. So I would write blanks options. For instance, sometimes the way you have done today also, that you had to find words from the passage, but sometimes it happens that they won't ask you to choose words, but they'll give a set of words. You have to find the answer and then choose the option that is synonymous with the given with the answer that you have found. As in, out of the box, you'll have to see the option that corresponds with the answer that you have found. So sometimes that also happens. Then matching happens, as in matching happens in quite a few ways. As in, it could be that half the information is given, half you have to locate. For instance, it could be like this: A, B, C, and then you'll have a box over here which will have options. Okay, so it could be more than the number of these can be more than the number of these. So here, half the information is given regarding something. You have to complete the piece of information using one of the options from this set. So you will see what A corresponds to in the passage, and then you will locate the option that is suitable. Sometimes it happens that you have a box full of researchers or scientists, and you have to, and then again you have A, B, C, D, E questions and all, 31, 32, 33, something of this sort. So you'll have to see 31, 32. Suppose this is something. So you have to locate from the box the scientist that corresponds to this piece of information. Then I think apart from these, there can be flow chart sometimes, as in you'll have to, but again, that is another version of, I think, blanks only. So hardly does that matter, flow chart, or could be a diagram that you have to label. as in there'll be a description in the passage, and they might draw something over here. For instance, here they have described motorbike. So they would say that on the front side you have this, on the front side in this direction you have that, or something of that sort. And in the question they could draw the bike, and you'll have to locate the parts and fill and label the bike accordingly. And apart from that, I would say, I think that pretty much sums up the. Sometimes it happens that you get a title question also. When I had taken my GT test, I had also gotten a title question where you have to give a title to the whole passage. It will be in the form of an MCQ, and MCQs are generally asked also. So again, an important category. So today I'll make you go through all these, as in what is true, false, not given, what is yes, no, not given. Then I'll give you a test also at the end of the class.
Yes, sir.
Again, I understand your pressures, I understand your work, but I request, if you want to see, we have only 1 month,
Right.
and if you
sir.
want to catch up with what what we are doing in the class, I request you. That is why I didn't give you any essays to write yesterday or anything to do. I just said go through them and go through the essays, so that we are well in line. We both work in lockstep. But if I'll have to give you a class, and if I do something new and you're not able to cover the previous work also, so that will create a jumble for you only. So in order to avoid that, I suggest you take out about 30 minutes a day, so that you are able to be abreast of what is happening. Just a suggestion, don't mind.
No,
Okay.
sir. I'll consider this.
Now, don't ask me right away that whether I should read the passage first, or whether I should do that first, or blah 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 first. It's that this strategy of going simultaneously, or reading the passage first, or reading the questions first, is something very subjective. I personally am not able to read the passage. I'm not able to read the passage first and then questions, or vice versa. My approach is very simultaneous. I would be going through the passage side by side, and I would be going through the questions also and solving them. But again, that will come after, when you have known the essence of this test, the reading test, and then you can, when you have known how to solve each type of questions, that will be very organic. You will get to know how to do it after some practice tests, of course. And apart from that, reading requires you to have a good range of vocabulary, no doubt. The words that I actually, forbid you from using in the writing test could be here, and they will test you as in if you know the meaning or not. Okay, so after that, as I was saying, okay, 1 or 2 more specifications. If the spelling is wrong, the answer is wrong.
Okay, sir.
And after that, it is recommended that you write all answers in caps, because that eliminates any chance of making being illegible or not readable. So you can write all your answers in caps on the answer sheet, and the answers are written in pencil. So I recommend that you practice your practice tests in pencil only. Don't use a pen when you are doing IELTS. And apart from that, okay, let's get to it. So reading, you'll have 1 hour. If I've told you that or not, 1 sec. Yes, no. Okay. So reading is 1 hour. And so sometimes it happens that you're not able to complete the whole test. As in, okay, I've taken the test 3 times. First time academic, second time it was general. Sorry, first time general, then academic, then I had gotten a lower, lower score in the listening test, so I had to take the academic one again. So here I got a 9 on 9 in reading, but in these 2 tests, I could score only an 8.5. That means I got maybe as in 38 or something. So two were wrong, as in I could feel, as in when I was taking the last test, the third one, I could actually feel that I was not able to do well in the last part of the last section, because and that was academic also. General, the structure is a bit different in the first two sections. So it is fine, as in not being able to do one or two questions, because you are allowed leaving, you're allowed leaving out about 6 questions or doing them wrong. Even then you will get a band 7 in GT. So that's a I would say triumph in itself, that you are able to complete the whole test in 1 hour. As in, I was taking it on screen also, so that was also a bit of a strain and all, but that's okay. Now let's consider the first category, blanks. Blanks, you have known them, as in, first of all, IELTS will never ask you to write an answer. When it comes to blanks, it will always say choose. So you don't have to change the form of a word, as in you don't have to convert an adjective into an adverb, or you don't have to write a noun from a noun, a noun phrase from a noun, or something of that sort. You will just choose words, as in you will see there, here, that's all. Of course, there'll be a word limit for sure. So no
Yes,
more
sir.
than three words, no more than 2 words, or something of that sort. So that you have to take care of. For instance, today itself, suppose, one sec. Isha had dash. So this is a question. This is a blanks question, and you have read in the passage that Isha ate fresh fruits. Isha ate fresh fruits. Now, Isha had this. Writing fresh fruits here is not wrong, as in Isha had fresh fruits is a perfectly fine sentence. But suppose you are given that you cannot use more than one word, then of course, which is more important out of fresh and fruits?
So basically fruits, because fresh is the
Fresh is just a quality, so
yes,
it can be done away with. So fruits is the more important word. So when you're given a limitation that you can use only one word, so the answer would be fruits. When you're given a limit that you can't use more than 2 words, then you can write fruits. That is perfectly fine. You can also write fresh fruits. That is also fine, because you have 2 words, and neither of these is wrong. In such a case where both answers are right and one word can be dispensed with, the answers in the key will be written in this form. The optional word will be in brackets. So fresh fruits, fresh in brackets, that means fruits is right, fresh fruits is right. So blanks are like this only. Of course, the word surrounding the answer in the passage will be synonymous with the words that are surrounding the answer in the given question. So that tests your vocabulary power. But again, it will not happen in each and every, I would say, question. It could be as in 1 or 2 questions, not 1 or 2, that is a bit too optimistic. 5 or 6 questions, it can happen that a word will decide whether you know the answer or not. So but it's again nothing that we should be afraid of. When you are doing your reading test, I recommend that students learn vocabulary from the passages themselves, as in, if they see that, okay, this is a new word that I've seen in the passage, I should learn it. You don't have to look things up from dictionaries or anything. You can just see that word, Google it, and know the meaning and retain it by revising it. So blanks, I think it's a dominant category. First of all, there are 40 questions, so almost each and almost all categories are covered in a test. So blanks, are you okay with them now? Have you
yes, sir.
gotten? Blanks sometimes might have options also, so you won't have to choose an answer from the passage, but an answer from the box. That is corresponding with the right answer. So that also, like, maybe Isha had, I would say, students. That the students is the word that, sorry, students is the word that is there in the passage, but in the given options you might have pupils. So pupils will be the answer, but because it corresponds with uh, students, so that you have to take care of also. And okay, fine. Now let's come to the second category: true, false, not given. And yes, no, not given. At the end, I'll tell you how I solve a reading test, and you can apply the same strategy today. Give it a hit and trial. If you are successful at it, I think that's a, if it suits you also, I think that will be a great situation, or otherwise we'll look for something else. And have you received your book? Sorry.
No, sir, not right.
So then I'll give you a reading test in the PDF form today. Uh, you can print it out, and
Yes,
then
sir.
subsequently you will solve them from books only.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So true, false, not given. First of all, the difference between them. These are information based. For them, you might have to consider the tone of the author, maybe. So first of all, let's, which is common to these two. Let's consider when a thing is true or yes, when a thing is false or no, when a thing is not given. Now, a true thing would ask you something of this sort, that whatever is in the question has something similar in the passage. Isha, what stream are you from?
So commerce.
Commerce. Okay, I was about to use a science concept. One
Sir,
second.
you can use. I'm aware about that.
Have you heard of this term vector?
No, sir. That was
No problem,
totally
no
not
problem.
medical.
Yeah, that is why I'm sorry. Uh, okay, let me find something. But you'll understand what I'm saying. If you're not able to do so, we'll change the methodology. So suppose a vector is a thing that has a direction and
Yes.
magnitude, as in a direction and a magnitude. So some things have only magnitude, some things have direction and magnitude. So suppose the given information is in this direction, and the question also goes in this direction. That means they are parallel. That means they are, I would say, of the same tonality, or they are, I would say, of the same nature. And as in they are talking about the same thing, and they are talking the same thing also. So that is a situation where you'll get a true answer. Suppose one thing is going in this direction and the second thing is going in this direction. Okay, so here plus, here minus. These are opposites. Are you understanding what I'm saying, or shall I change it?
Right. Sir, I'm able to understand.
So suppose one quantity is going in this direction, the second quantity is going in that direction. That means they are opposite. Opposite means contradictory, and contradictory is false. And
Right.
suppose you have one quantity, but there's no, as in the passage you have the quantity, sorry, in the question you have the quantity, but there's nothing regarding that in the passage. So that means not given. Let's take an example. One second. Anisha is Isha's sister. Anisha is Isha's sister. Let's consider the first option. Anisha is Isha's sister. Anisha and Isha are related. From the given statement, what tag would you give to this one? Anisha and Isha are related. True, false, or
So
not given?
true.
True, because if they are sisters, that means they are related to each other and they mean the same thing or similar things. So that is a true situation. Good. Anisha is Isha's sister and Anisha is a male. What tag would you give to this one?
So not given.
Anisha is Isha's sister. If Anisha is a sister of someone, so Anisha is a female.
Yeah.
So the question says she's a male. So this goes in this direction, the female direction, and the opposite of that is the male direction. So in this case, this will be false because from the passage we understand that Anisha is a female. The question says Anisha is a male. Do you get that or not?
Yes, sir.
Anisha is Isha's sister. Isha's sister will be a female, which is Anisha. So
Yes, sir.
Anisha is a female, but the question says Anisha is a male. So female
So,
this direction, male opposite this direction, so false.
right, sir.
Okay, now let's see this one. Isha is a male. Now,
So this can be not given
exactly.
because
Now this is not given. Very good. Please put forth your justification.
because Isha can be anyone, na? That's not
Exactly.
specifically given that whether female or male.
Exactly. Isha can be a boy and Anisha can be his sister. Anisha can be a Isha can be a girl and Anisha can be her sister also. So we do not know about the genital configuration of Isha. So
Yes.
Isha is a male is something we cannot draw from the given piece of information. So this is not given. Do you get me?
Yes, sir.
So clear? What is true, what is false, what is not given. Shall we proceed?
Yes,
Notes
sir.
you don't have to make. As I've told you, the lecture will be there on the on YouTube, so don't worry. Yes, no, not given are a bit more implicit than true, false, not give true, false, not given, because here you would not be getting the information, but an idea of what you're going to solve. For instance, Isha loves Anisha. 1, 2, 3. Let's see the first one. Okay, we are discussing yes, no, not given. Since you have done CAT, there might be a concept that must have been taught to you at that time. Inference. Do you remember when you used to solve RCs and all? If you don't remember, that's not a problem. But could I get a hint about that?
No, sir, not remember because it has been like 7 years before.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Perfectly. Isha loves Anisha. Isha has positive feelings toward Anisha. What would you say about this? Yes, no, or not given?
Sir, in this we can say yes.
We will say yes because love gives us a direction toward positivity, and yes, no, not given are actually based on how you perceive the data and not what the data is. So perfectly fine. Anisha has positive feelings toward, Isha has positive feelings toward Anisha. If I use the same thing and write Anisha has positive feelings toward Isha. Now, what would you say?
Sir,
Anisha, yeah,
not
sorry.
given.
Anisha has positive feelings toward Isha. We do not have any data on that,
We
so
do not have, so not
we
given.
can't make an opinion. We can't make an opinion on that, so that's not given. Super. Anisha has positive feelings toward Isha is not given. Good. And let's take another example. Okay, don't mind this one. Isha may kill Anisha.
Sir, no,
This is no, because we have been given that
because the
she
statement is
loves,
positive
and this is
this is
this is a
negative.
perfect. Then you know how to do it. Positive and negative. So Isha may kill Anisha is a wrong inference. So no. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Let's move. Now, let's talk about MCQs first. MCQs kind of uh, become problematic when they try to confuse you using certain words, as in they would give you something related to option A, B, C, option A, option B, and option C will try to use similar kinds of terms, and that might arc you a little that okay, this also seems to be the answer, or that also seems to be the answer. But the thing is that you have to go with the one that is, I would say, a copy of what is written in the passage. Let's take an example. Sudhir taught at CLN time. Now he is a self-dependent person. So let's say you have a question that has three options then. What is the link between Sudhir and CL? So I'm going to give you three options now. Let me evaluate my question. I could have made a mistake. So one second. Okay, now you tell me, what is the answer?
Sir, the answer would be C, because in the statement it was in a past tense that you were
Hmm.
working over CLN time, whereas in the first A option it is written that uh, while working
No,
it made you
I've
self.
not written while. Working at CL made, it's also in the past. Working at CL made Sudhir self-dependent. Made, M-A-D-E, past.
But most relevant is C1.
It's okay. I'm giving you 1 minute. Uh, think up a reason for that. No problem.
So we have to find link between Sudhir and CL, na?
Yeah.
So basically the link is shown in the C
Isha,
option.
take my advice. Okay, take 30 seconds. Get your words together and then give me the explanation. I'll ask you, don't worry. Okay, now you may tell me the answer. First of all, what is the answer? A, B, or C? Isha, are you there?
Yes, sir. Just thinking about this.
It's okay. So the working at CL made Sudhir self-dependent. Why do you think this is wrong?
So because in the quotation it was written that first line is in past tense, whereas now he is a self-independent person is in present.
That is not a solid explanation. I tell you. So there are two scenarios. I used to teach at time and CL, and now I'm self-dependent. But there is no mention of the fact that working at either of these two firms helped me become self-dependent. There are two different scenarios that I used to be there. Now I'm self-dependent. Whether they contributed to my being self-dependent or not is not there. No, how they helped me is not there. So we cannot we cannot make out a result that it was because of working there that I could become self-dependent. So working at CL made Sudhir self-dependent. That means that because I worked there, um, that is why. So because I worked there, I'm self-dependent. Working there has helped me become self-dependent. That is something that I'm giving contribution to the company, but I haven't given any kind of that information here that it was because of this company that I am a self-dependent person. So A is wrong. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, of course, you will get some stupid options also. So B is a very stupid one. So it can. I don't think I need to explain to you why B is wrong. Do I?
No, sir.
Sudhir was a worker at CL. I taught there. I was a worker. Fine. So C is the answer. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes it might happen that you're asked to choose more than one option. That can also happen. Like there could be, I would say, 5 options: A, B, C, D, E, and you have to choose 2 advantages of the phenomenon that is discussed. As in, suppose the passage is about the benefits of maybe walking. So it could ask you what sorry, not the passage, but one. So suppose the passage is about the concept of walking, and one paragraph is devoted. Okay, 2 paragraphs are devoted to the benefits of it. So this question might ask you which of these are the mentioned benefits of walking. So you might see them in A and D. So your answers will be, suppose this is only one question. So this is question 25, perhaps. and you are asked what are the benefits of walking. So you see the answer, these two are the benefits. So on the answer sheet, you will write A space D. So you might have to choose two answers also, or it could be that this question will cover two questions. So he will say questions 25 and 26. Choose the benefits of walking, and the options are A, B, C, D, E. So you see A and C are the benefits. And on the answer sheet, you see answer 25, answer 26. So since they are, I would say, this is a combined question. So you can write A, C, or you can write in either order. You can also write C, A, no problem. But if both benefits belong to only one answer, they should be written adjacent to each other. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Good. Fine. We are done with the MCQs. Now let's move on to perhaps matching and all. Matching is not, I do not consider, okay, it's not that difficult, but students fear it because, as in those who fear it, fear the reading test itself, let it be. So matching would, as I told you, would be a box here with a number of options, perhaps A to maybe H. So that would mean that 8 options. So you might have only 4 questions in correspondence. Perhaps question 31, 32, 33, 34. So you have 8 options and you have 4 questions. The 4 questions would be something of this sort. Half a piece of information, half a, which will be there in the passage also. So you'll have to see what 31 talks about, and you'll have to see the next part of it in the passage. Then that next part should correspond with one of these options. For instance, you see 31 will be completed well by B. So the answer to 31 will be B, and things of these sorts. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So there is another matching case where you'll have again a set of questions and a list of people. For instance, let's take 3 people, maybe okay, Keats, and Das. So you'll have to see that 31 belongs to which of these poets, 32 belongs to which of these poets, and that, as in the passage, it could be Keats said this, and that said this is written in option in question 32. So the answer to 32 would be 1. In some questions, you will have this thing, NB, which is nota bene. That means a point that should be noted, that you can use one letter more than once. Of course, you see, you have only 3 here and 4 questions. That means 2 questions of these are going to have, the same answer. Like Keats might have said what is there in the 31st question and what is there in the 34th question. So you can use more letter. You can use one letter more than once. That is perfectly fine. But it should be there. If you have the NB situation, only then can you use letter more than once. Otherwise, it is not allowed.
Okay, sir.
Good. Okay. Matching, I think, doesn't have another case. No, fine. So let's see how much we have done. So we're done with 1 sec. We've done true, false, not given. We have done yes, no, not given. We've done blanks. We've done matching. Uh, uh, uh,
So headings and options.
I know that is the, I think, the most hated category, and I want to do it at the end. One sec. Hated not to you, but generally. Um, and then the flow chart I said, but that was, I, as I told you, was something very similar to the as in that thing, blanks. But let's do a label thing. One sec.
So diagram.
Label, that is what I said, label. So suppose, okay, don't laugh at my drawing, sorry. Let's say they are going to discuss a building. This can happen in the listening test also, but that's a different thing. One sec, let me consider my thing. So suppose in the passage it is written that the base of a building is supported with cement. So what would be the answer to A?
The base of the building is supported with cement, like floor.
You, as I told you, as in for blanks, you don't have to change the words. In the, you have to label this diagram, and the description of this diagram is that first, the first sentence says the base of the building is supported with cement. So what should be the answer? As in, you can see the arrow. So what is A? You have to label this diagram, no? So if that base is, if that thing is strengthened with cement, and the passage said that the base of the building is supported with cement, that means the answer to A is base. In the description, it is written that the base of the passage, sorry, the base of the building is supported with cement. Okay, so that means the description is giving us the word. Now, in the diagram, we have been given that this thing of which we ask the name, of which is strengthened with cement. And you know in the description what is strengthened or supported with cement. What was that? Base. So the answer is base. Or you can write the base.
No, only base. One word answer.
No, it could be, if it is no more than two words, then the base is also fine.
Okay.
I tell you, as in one thing that will clear this out to you. Okay, understood. As in helps watch TV. So in these buildings, you can watch you can watch TV programs through an antenna. So the answer to B is antenna.
Okay, sir.
Find such things of these sorts. Fine. Now let's get to the headings part. First of all, let me clear it out to you, like why base and the base both were right here. As in, when you label a diagram, when you do things of, I would say, pictorial of the pictorial category, then grammar doesn't matter much. So you can leave out articles and all these qualifiers. So the base. But suppose you have a sentence. A sentence is something that will rely on grammar. So suppose a question comes like this. Okay, let's get to that screen. Then the dash of a building is strengthened with cement. Dash of a building is strengthened with cement. Full stop. Now you have a full-fledged sentence. Now you cannot skimp on the necessary grammar. Now you have to write the base, and they are not stupid. This time they will actually give you the leverage to use more than one word.
Okay, sir.
So if it's grammatically required, it has to be there. If it's grammatically required, and if it is a chart kind of thing, then grammar is optional, up to you. You can write the base, you can write base. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's get to the next part. Headings. Okay, we'll discuss 3 categories here. Headings. Which paragraph contains this information? And the title of the passage question. Now, a passage will be something of this sort, that it will have paragraphs. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, paragraph 5, paragraph 6. Let's say it has 6 paragraphs. Now, first of all, we'll start from the right. What should be the title of a thing? And as in, what should a title represent?
Some the main topic on which the whole all 6 paragraphs are about.
Superb. For instance, let's say it's about maybe divorces. Okay, so paragraph 1 defines this term. Then paragraph 2 gives a historical narrative, as in what has been the what the trajectory of this phenomenon has been in our country. And paragraph 3, sorry, paragraph 3 talks about the situation today. So today, paragraph 4 gives the advantages of divorces. Paragraph 5 gives the disadvantages. And paragraph 6 says that advantages outweigh disadvantages. Okay, so I repeat, there's a passage on divorces. It has 6 paragraphs. The first one defines the phenomenon. The second one tells us about the historical path of this phenomenon. The third paragraph gives us what the situation today is. The fourth one gives advantages of the phenomenon. The fifth one, the disadvantages. And the sixth one gives, as in that advantages are heavier than the disadvantages. Now, a title would be that. Let me have water, sorry. A title would not be, a title can't be the benefits of divorces. Why? Because it talks about one of the paragraphs. So that can't be the answer. Can it be?
No, sir, because that is only in 6th paragraph, no?
Exactly. Okay, so can the title be, one sec. The overall effect of divorces, the overall effect of divorces.
No, that will be covered only from 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Excellent. Divorces yesterday and now, and their overall impact.
This can be the
This is a
title.
good. This is a good title. Why? First, divorces. That means definition. Yesterday, historical. Today, now, and their
And its
overall
impact.
impact. Overall impact means advantages minus
Advantages and
disadvantages.
disadvantages.
Good. You know this. Fine. Now, sometimes it happens that this category comes. Which paragraph contains this information? You will have something of this sort. Perhaps question 1, 3. Which paragraph contains this information? That means it is not asking about the essence of the whole paragraph. Which paragraph contains this information? So this question just asks that you locate what is given in the question, and you have to locate the corresponding paragraph. Suppose there is this huge paragraph, and option question 2 is from here to here. That is fine, because it doesn't say what is the title of the paragraph. It just asks that, as in, if you have to find this piece of information, where it will be. So it's all about locating where the piece of information is, not about what the corresponding paragraph actually says, overall or something. So suppose you have the advantages of divorces. Let's say this paragraph is that. So suppose here to here, the first advantage is that maybe violence gets reduced, and the second advantage is from maybe here to here, and that is that the males are okay. The males face the music, as in they have to bear the consequences. So face the music is an idiom. And there's another advantage that females get to start their journey in a better way. So now, if I say which paragraph contains this information, and you have that females get a new lease of life, get a new lease on life. So that can be like, suppose this is so this can be that the answer to is paragraph 4, because the advantages paragraph has this piece of information that they are starting their life from they are starting their lives in a better way, so they get a new lease on life. So suppose this was asked in question 2, so paragraph 4 can be the answer to this one. But if I say the heading of this paragraph is that females get a new lease on life, that is wrong. Why? Because in general the paragraph deals with the advantages, all the advantages, and what I have stated is one of the advantages. So one of the advantages cannot be a title to the complete set. So that is why here the answer is right. But if I say the heading to paragraph 4 can be that females get a new lease on life, that is wrong. Why? Because it is one of the advantages. So
Yes, sir.
a heading to a paragraph should be something that defines the soul of the paragraph, and not something that is about, I would say, one of the aspects discussed in the paragraph. So a good heading to paragraph 4 can be that merits of the phenomenon, what you gain, um, the positive aspects of the trend or some of the of the social phenomenon. Okay, it could be as in why to leave your spouse. Why to leave your spouse? That is fine, because why to means that we are giving something beneficial, so that also discusses the advantages, and vice versa for paragraph 5. Why not to leave your spouse? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So title, something that defines the essence of the passage. Which paragraph contains is not about what the overall paragraph is about. It is about that if you are able to locate this piece of information in that paragraph or not. And the heading to a paragraph should be that captures the essence of the paragraph. For instance, let's try to give a heading to paragraph 6, where I've stated that advantages are more effective than disadvantages, or advantages outweigh disadvantages. So we can say that a title to this one can be, a heading to this one can be that more a boon, less a bane. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Or maybe the verdict. So the final take, should you take it or not? Something of that sort. But it can't be that more hazardous of too hazardous a phenomenon, because that it doesn't deal with negative aspects only. It gives us the final call that the analysis, the analytical outcome is that this is greater than that. A good heading to paragraph 2 can be how it has evolved, maybe how it has changed over the years or over the decades or something. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So this is about the headings thing, the paragraph contains thing, and the title thing. Fine.
Fine, sir.
So I'll take 5 more minutes. The last thing that I need to tell you today is that the nature of the, this was about the nature of the questions, the natures of the questions. Now we're going to talk about the natures of the passages. Section 1, section 2, section 3. As I told you, subdivision 1, subdivision 2. So I'll write E1, E2, E3, E4, and a complete passage. Let's say E5. Now these two are the these 4. First of all, the stars are going to be very, very public, as in there could be an advertisement. For instance, let's say this. Maybe situations vacant. So there's a there's an advertisement for a job, and they have specified all the requirements and what the salary is going to be and blah blah blah. So there could be blanks questions. Or suppose in E2 you have there's a building and the features of each floor. So suppose there's a building like this, A, B, C. These are the floors. So they'll say A, describe it, the passage. B, describe it. So there can be a question that which feature, there'll be a list of features, F1, F2, F3. So you'll be asked like F1 belongs to which, F1 corresponds to which floor or something. It's a kind of matching thing. And E3 and E4 will lie in the same category. They'll give you something very, very non-academic. But E5 will be a bit academic. Now it will talk about something that is, first of all, large scale. E5 is going to be of about 900 words, like the one you did today. And it's going to ask you 14 questions. So here you might have to deal with something academic. For instance, there could be a passage on fossils. So in the academic exam, there are only 3 passages. And the nature of each is like the one that E5 has. So you're given academic aspects, for instance, fossils, medicine, robots, and all. So now the last part, how to approach questions. I'm going to tell you my way of doing it. You will have a hit and trial, and if it works for you, very well. So first of all, since you're going to start the thing, don't keep a time limit right now. It will be self-harm. Right now, your approach should be that you should get your answers right. So even if you take 2 hours in the first go and you get 38 out of 40 right, that is the thing I'm looking for, rather than you complete it in 1 hour and you get 21 and 40. That is of no use right now, because accuracy is our effort. Speed is a natural phenomenon. An example I will quite often give to my students that Isha, if I ask you 2 multiplied with 2, what will be the answer?
So it will be 4.
Since you have been practicing this for so long, or since you have been doing this for so long, so you didn't deliberately take time to calculate 2, 3, 4, because you were confident about it, and that reduced your speed. Okay, sorry, that reduced your time and increased your speed. So speed is a natural phenomenon. When we are good at something, when we have achieved a lot of success in a domain, our confidence shoots, and we become fast at that. So speed is a very natural phenomenon, but effort is our own thing. So you should be, the higher the accuracy, the more the confidence, the faster the speed. Sorry, the faster the speed, the response time. So focus on accuracy. Time will actually get reduced by itself. So you will try to solve questions in whatever duration you want right now. And when you're done, as in when you have done the whole sheet, and when you have seen that I got X right and Y wrong and Z I was not able to do, so you will redo Y and Z. Okay, and you will, if you're not able to do them again, just ask me, I'll help you out. What I do is that, suppose I'm gonna take passage 3 example. Suppose this is the passage. By passage 3, I mean section 3, the long one. And of course, in it I have questions from 27 to 40. So I have 2 categories: true, false, not given, and blanks. Now, true, false, not given are from 27 to 35, and blanks are from 36 to 40. This is for sure 99.9%. Again, there can be variations. That in each category you will get answers in order. That means you'll get the information for 27 first, then for 28, then for 29, and so on. And for 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. But there could be a case that the answers to this set are before the answers to this set. Or it could be like you get the answers to the first one before the answers to the second one. It could be anything. So what I do is that I read the first sentence, or maybe 2 sentences, and then I look for the first question of each category. and I see that 27 from the first sentence I get information about 36. So I'll solve the 36. I get, sorry. So I see from the first sentence I get information for the 36th question. So I'll solve the 36th first, and then 37, then 38, 39, 40, and then I'll solve the 27 to 35 thing. So in each category, the answers will be in order, but the second category can have answers before the first one. So be cautious about that. Are you
Sir,
getting what I'm?
this set,
Yeah, yeah.
sir, this set will be in order, like 36 to 40 will be
Yeah,
in order,
they
or
will they
that
will
can
they will be in order, and that is an observation. Honestly, I have never seen IELTS proclaiming that. So, but as many tests I have solved, I have seen in my real tests also, the 3 times I've taken the test, they were in order. And I've solved uh, various Cambridge books, and that happens almost every time. So don't worry about that. 36 to 40, 36, 37, 39, sorry, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, you'll get answers like this. 27, 28, 29, up to 35, you'll get answers like this in order. But the second category may have answers before the first one. So that you should be cautious about. So as you read the first or the second sentence, sorry, first and the second sentence, you should be scanning the first question of each category. So there could be 3 categories also. So if you get the information related to the first question of any of the 3 categories, you should be aiming for that question at that time, because reading the whole passage first and then doing the questions by going through the passage again is something that I am not very much I do not vouch for. But again, it's subjective. You might get, I had a student named Parth Patel. He got a 9 on 9 in reading. He used to complete his reading tests in 45 to 50 minutes. He was that fast. I'm not that fast, honestly. I have to take 1 hour. But again, something that varies from person to person. So you can try this technique, and because each question is very, very location specific, you do not have to have the essence of the whole passage in order to solve a question. They are specific, as in 36 will be related to a specific piece of information, and so is the case for 37 and so on. So that you can be sure about. For instance, you have a list of reading question, list of headings category. So you have a passage, okay? It has 5 paragraphs. Okay, let's say 3 paragraphs, and you have a list of headings. It has A, B, C, D, 4 headings. So what you do, and now you have 4 questions here. Let's say this is maybe passage 1, 13 questions thing. For the academic test, you will get a thing of this sort in section 3. So question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4 are related to headings. Sorry, question, not 4 questions, but 3 questions. Sorry, because there are 3 paragraphs. So so first 3 questions that you have to assign headings to each of these paragraphs. That you have to assign headings to these paragraphs, and then you have 4 to maybe 4, 5, 6, 7. You have true, false, not given. Then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, you have blanks. Okay, since in an academic test, and in your test also in section 3, but in the academic test, I'm talking about the first section, you'll have 13 questions, and but for you it will be 14 questions at the end. You are gonna read paragraph 1 in detail because you have to find a heading for that, and simultaneously you can look for the first true, false, not given question. That, okay, I found the heading, now I should look for the true, false, not given if there is any piece of information that corresponds to any of the questions in this category. you read the first paragraph, you had to find the heading, and you know heading is dependent on the whole paragraph. So you would find the heading that, so suppose you got the answer is C. The Cth heading is appropriate to the first paragraph. Since you've read the first paragraph, now you can see the fourth question also. Like there might be some information for the fourth one here. And you can look for the eighth question also, that this blank is solved using the information here. So you can be very, very, I would say, sweeping, very, very holistic, that you are taking the whole passage at a time rather than taking one question at a time. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
One second. Fine. So this is about the reading test. After the class, I'm going to send you a full-fledged reading test. You can print it out. And as in, I'll send you the key along with it only. You can look at it afterward. And still, if you find any problems, we'll discuss them tomorrow. And I suggest you have the reading test completed before, I would say 5 p.m. so that you can send me your problems by 5 p.m. And I have them solved before that class starts. Because when you tell me the problems in the class, I will have to have solved them at that time, and that will just waste time. If I have them solved before the class, that will, shorten the process.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Fine, sir.
See you, Isha. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.